This episode of the Play the Game podcast is brought to you by LoneWolfPaintball.com. And when it comes to paintball, Lone Wolf is the name you can trust. They have been in the game since the very beginning as Michigan's premier field and supplier since 1987, and Lone Wolf has built a legacy of excellence, passion, and service that runs deep in the game. From their top-tier customer service to same-day shipping on all orders, Lone Wolf makes sure that you are locked and loaded with your new gear fast. No waiting around, no hassle, just the best brands in paintball delivered straight to your door. They've got it all. Markers, loaders, tanks, apparel, accessories, and more from all of your favorite brands. And whether you're just getting started in the game or gearing up for your next big event, LoneWolfPaintball.com has everything you need. Be sure to check out their YouTube channel at Lone Wolf Paintball and follow them on Instagram at Lone Wolf PB to stay up to date on all the latest gear, exclusive sales, and community content. At Play the Game Podcast, we are incredibly grateful for Lone Wolf's continued support, and we cannot wait for you to become a part of their growing community. Head on over to LoneWolfPaintball.com right now and gear up with the best in the game. PTG family, thank you so much for being here. Are you interested in getting your brand in front of the Play the Game community? We are opening up advertising opportunities on the Play the Game podcast, and if you've got a company, a product, or a brand you want to promote to our passionate and growing community, this is your chance. Please send us over a message on Instagram at Play the Game Podcast to learn how we can collaborate and help you grow your business through the PTG platform. Once again, head over to Instagram, send us a message at Play the Game Podcast, and we look forward to connecting and helping you build something truly amazing together.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another great episode. This episode, we've got the new owner of the New Orleans Hurricanes, John Brinkman, and really love this conversation. What a bright, intelligent individual, very successful businessman, and now bringing a lot of those philosophies to the paintball field and the paintball organization that is the New Orleans Hurricanes. They just made a massive acquisition of Konstantin Fedorov and are relaunching the iconic brand Contract Killer. This is an episode you absolutely do not want to miss. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
What is up, everyone? Welcome all to another fun episode of PTG. This is episode number 318, and tonight we have a really special one. Joining us is the new owner of the New Orleans Hurricanes, a lifelong baller, heavyweight in the business world, and he's stepping back into the sport to have some fun and help us, shape Major League Paintball as it stands right now, and the pro circuit's looking really strong. So please, everyone, welcome Mr. John Brinkman to the show.
Yeah, let's go.
What's going on, John?
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Hey, the honor's all ours, man. We're excited to hear what you got going on over there, and it sounds like some big things popping off for the Hurricanes in 2026.
It's going to be a big year. So I'm telling you, you couldn't ask for a better group of guys. So that's fired me up even more. So, man, I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, the Hurricanes camp over the last, 3 seasons, I'd say, has really earned their stripes as a well-respected organization that has players that are committed to the team. It's such a tight-knit group. At least that's what it appears to be from the outside. And that chemistry has translated to, their successes on the field. Never really brought in any outside stars. You can make the argument with Nick Ripple. He was like the one ringer they kind of had. And now bringing in Fedorov, which is one of the biggest heavyweights in the division, just an absolute game changer, a huge move for you guys. Hurricanes are definitely going to be a massive threat and a big contender next year, especially with at least what we're hearing, the regiment that you want the players to have is, with the amount of practices and all that. And I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit, but just a really exciting time if you're a Hurricanes fan.
Yeah, with this group of guys and the commitment and some of the things, we'll visit, as we go on tonight about this. But, these guys were so committed to play with each other through the years where they've had opportunities to go somewhere. And these guys paid their way to play together. And, that's just huge. I mean, and something that when I came in, I was really wanting to be involved at a certain level. But I walk in, those guys treated me like family. They instantly, brought me into their group, and it's just encouraged me to want to do more for them and the organization. So yeah, there's some certain things that I really feel are going to be big to what they couldn't do last year and in years past, that we're going to be able to add, and you put what all the little things that they couldn't do to with what these guys are capable of, and I think that combination is big.
No, absolutely. And support is one of the most important things for any organization. I've been very fortunate to be part of some pretty successful organizations over the years. And what the fans and most people don't see is it's not just the players on the field. There's so much that goes into the players on the field performing at a high level. And that's, from management, ownership, pit crew, supporters, purely like your fans and the support that you get at events. Like all of this stuff plays a role in winning or being successful. I'm sure it's the same in, any business and, anything that you're going to do in life, but in paintball for sure, like the entirety of the group is such an important thing and often just so far overlooked, it's like a football team that has like 3 or 4 star offensive players, but their O-line's terrible, and they're like, well, why can't they get anything done? Well, because no one's protecting the quarterback, like the not flashy players actually matter, and they make the flashy players flashy. So, I think, again, you coming in this role is definitely going to boost the organization. When did this all come to fruition? It seemed like it happened very fast. Obviously, that's coming from us who were on the outside. I'm sure it was, in the works for quite some time, or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, when did this all come to fruition? And if you don't mind me asking, how did it come to fruition?
Yeah, well, years ago with Dallas Elite, back in the day with MPPL was kind of my where younger days, right? Was able to spend a lot of time with what I call friends now to this day, who I built those relationships through the years, and had to step away for business purposes. Had two boys at the time. I won't really visit about it much in detail, but I'll tell you that our oldest son, who passed away in a car accident, a few years ago, and
I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it makes you step back and kind of say, hey, what's the most important thing in life? And and I've done the business thing, I've done the work 7 days a week, and those are not the things that I remember. It's not that when I think about memories. And so, my youngest son, wants to play and be part of that and be part of the organization. And so, we work together, and so, we've had that relationship that you get, father and son working together. So you're kind of, and I said, look, I'm really, I'm willing to help you with the development and the home building and stuff like that. But I want our relationship to be more than business. I said, I really want our relationship to where we can add some fun back into that relationship. And so that's when the discussion started with, paintball, because that's what, the boys remembered, growing up as far as doing and fun. And so it really just, it really started with that. And it's turned into kind of the way that I do things. I like to do things big, and that's that kind of is what excites me to get up in the morning. And so what we've done is just put everything into that concept, that if we're going to do it, we're going to have fun, we're going to make it big, we're going to try to do it, better than everyone else. And that's fun for us. My son and I, we kind of have that drive, that passion. And so that's kind of where it all started and kind of how we're sitting here today.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God bless you guys. It's going to be amazing to see you and your beautiful family attack paintball and really give it everything you got. I'm excited to watch the Hurricanes. Always been a big fan of the squad, and definitely with the addition of Fedorov, I got to play alongside him on Heat. He's one of my brothers. He's an absolute dog out there, and you guys have an amazing team. But let's let the people kind of know more about you, John. Let's go like how we kind of scraped on the surface there, but let's go back into the past. Let's talk about like your introduction into paintball and kind of give people the ground, the framework of how you started in your like paintball journey.
Sure. Well, as far as it started, my first job in high school was working at Hardcore Paintball, in Plano.
Oh, there you go.
the Texas Black Diamonds, as far as that was, when you talk about first jobs and exciting things, that was big for me. Those guys kind of welcomed me in. My first event was the '98 World Cup with them. And so it goes back a little bit.
Yeah, real quick. Did you work at the paintball field before you played paintball, or did you play paintball and then that was your first job?
No, started at the store first because, I went in, was like, was kind of like, man, this stuff is great. And just was excited about it. I'm a kid, 17 years old. And John Kirkpatrick back in the day, he was, kind of sold me on, you need a gun. And before I know it, I'm working there and I'm out practicing the next week.
Nice. Awesome. Love that.
Yeah, that's how I started too. I started at the field, like just reffing, and then started working at the store, and the rest is history. It's just, you never stop. I mean, even if you step away from the game, you always want to be back out there on the field. You always want to be, loading the guppies and going and attacking it out there.
I'll tell you, there's nothing like.
They're called guppies. Let it be.
Damn it, dude. That is everyone's gonna be calling them guppies now. Great. Look what you did.
Started something new.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
So, paintball is so unique. As far as I've coached high school football, I've done things that revolve around sports, but there's just something so unique about paintball because you get that mixture of like adrenaline and the excitement, but you get the camaraderie of the team. It's just such a unique, and a lot of people can do it. And it's one of those things that maybe you're not the fastest guy, but maybe you can hit somebody on the break. It's like there's a spot for everybody. And as long as you're dedicated to work hard, you could be successful at some level. And so I don't know, something about it just has always been exciting and fun for me.
You're hitting it on the head there, because that's one of the things about our game that differentiates it from any other sport pretty much is, anybody can play. Anybody can pick up a marker and go be highly effective out there. It's up to your field awareness, your communications, your shots. You don't have to be super quick. If you are, that's great. And you can, make those jumps from bunker to bunker, maybe a little faster, but it's not what separates the good from the great out there. It's in between the ears, and it's about how you process the information. So as long as, obviously at the pro level, all your guys, all the top tier guys, they're all working really hard to be the best that they can at that. But even in the divisional levels, you see such amazing play. Maybe they don't understand the little nuances quite yet, but you still see how they're able to attack it, and everybody has a chance to win if they make the right moves and approach the process like in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch that. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. So in your journey there, you start at the paintball store, then you start playing paintball all the time, and you work your way up the rank. How did you get into tournament paintball?
Well, kind of going back to the as far as the Texas Black Diamonds, that was kind of the beginning of that. And as far as just spent some time with them, and then decided wanted to start my own team. So Dallas Elite kind of morphed out of that. Gerald Garcia, good friend of mine, and was playing at that point in the PSP and that side of it. And so
that's my boy.
Yeah, he's good friend. Great guy. And
I was on Oakland Assassins with him when I was just a kid.
Yeah. So I blame him for a lot of this.
That's right.
We should thank him for all of this.
Way to go, G. Yeah. There we go.
He's a good guy, and he's actually one of the reasons that I'm back into, he called me up one day and was kind of saying, hey man, I've been out at the field. You should come out and kind of one thing led to another. And here we are. But, he, back in the day, as far as he was on Dallas Elite with us, there was LJ, Lil John, basically a lot of the guys that were crossing over from the PSP were playing with the MPPL with us on the pro squad. And then I played played an event or two with like Dallas or Detroit Strange and some of that group. So that went on for a few years, and then just life kind of catches up, and it's like you just can't commit the time, and so I basically kind of took about a 9-year break. So it's been a little while.
Yeah, about a decade there, and you obviously have crushed it in the business world as well. So I'm sure that you're going to take that same type of pedigree bring it into the team and give everyone the tools that they need to succeed on and off the field, mentally, and we can dive into, you're building a whole facility. You got a bunch of plans that you have for the guys to stay sharp.
Yeah, I mean, with this group of guys, the talent, I'll take these guys anywhere in the world and go play, right? I mean, these are, I feel like we have the talent right now. I think what I've wanted to kind of infuse into the team and the organization was the ability to really focus and dial in on the little things and get better in those areas. And, I don't want to take credit for it because there was so much stuff that went into Texas that, we were able to perform, the best all year at that level. But I will contribute, really honing in and starting that process of focusing on the little details, the little things, and just grinding those out, making sure we're prepared for as many possible things that are going to go wrong that you possibly can, right? Because you can only control so much. So there's just some things that are going to come up. It does not matter how much you prepare. You're just going to get caught blindsided by some stuff. But if you can prepare for all of the stuff that you can and eliminate those issues, then, I think what we saw in Texas was that, we're able to kind of piece that stuff together. That fourth place finish with overtime, loss to be able to go to the finals was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said there, John, because it's actually, when I coach, that is kind of my philosophy as well. I think any good leader or good coach, they do a great job of preparing their players for all of the possibilities, or as many possibilities that you can think of. And so anytime, there's been so many times I've been in tournaments coaching younger players, and a situation happens on the field and a player doesn't execute correctly or treat the situation as they should. And I go, damn it, that's on me. I did not prepare them for that moment. Actually, like, we're up small example, up 2 points, and, there's a minute left. He should know not to make that move, but I didn't make sure he knew not to make that move. Little things like that. That really is what, all the great coaches and all great leaders in any field do. You try to be as prepared as possible. And like you said, you definitely cannot be prepared for everything. You got to be flexible. You got to be willing to change your, preparation on the fly and say, well, we thought this, but now that. That's part of it too. But no, that's a really huge part of success for sure.
Well, and that's one of the things that, this is it's a professional sport, right? And as a professional sport, I've always had a hard time calling paintball professional because there's not a lot of money made, right? And I always believe that professional name means you should be paying your bills and taking care of your family and all of those. And unfortunately, we're not at a place yet. I've got some big plans. I'm hoping we'll change that with the league and some of the concepts and ideas I'm hoping to bring to the table. But right now, as an organization, as a team, you could win every single event you play. You could place first place at every single event. You could be the very best in the world, and you still are going to lose money.
You're still going to lose money.
Right? And so, I want to change that. I want to change it, because with that Major League Paintball, that to me, that brand is different than NXL. It's different than, that Major League Paintball brand. There's a lot that can be done with that to really change things. And so I'm a very big advocate for pushing some major changes, and hopefully, and the league's been very, very open-minded. Jason and Tom have kind of welcomed me in with open arms and said, hey, if you're willing to do some of the things, we're willing to try to make some big things happen.
Yeah, those two, Tyler and I both can't say enough good things about Jason and
Absolutely.
Tom. They don't get everything right. Nobody does, is what it is, but their heart's always in the right place. And they truly are so open to receiving help or information or opinion from really anyone that's around. It's kind of fascinating to see at events and see Tom Cole and see how many different people he's engaging with and spending 30 minutes at a time talking to, truly trying to find the best path forward for the sport. It's funny. We wanted to get him on the show. He's always available, like pretty much anytime throughout the season. He's always available. And since Cup, his phone's been off. I'm like, oh yeah, once a year he does a safari in Africa. You're not going to hear from Tom for a couple weeks. And it's like, much deserved, my friend. Like, go just take the time off, turn your phone off, enjoy it. When you get back, we'll get back to business. But it is important to have leaders in the industry that are receptive to help from, people like yourself and other individuals that have had success, outside of this industry and can help bring just, again, some good ideas and good ways forward, because I feel like we're on the brink, for so long. I feel like we've been saying that there's been so many iterations of this game where it's like we're so close. We're at the tipping point. It's one of my favorite books from Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point. I don't know if you've read it, but
yeah,
it's fantastic. It's about these moments where, you just need one catalyst to go your direction, and that's it. And the entire history of the sport or your life or whatever it can be different. So very exciting to hear that you're involved on that level. I actually didn't know. If there's anything you can share that you're trying to do or bring to the league, that would be awesome. Also understand if you can't, but that would be pretty cool to talk about.
Well, first things first, I feel like our pro field should be a turf field. I believe that our athletes, need to look like athletes flying around, sliding, looking, as far as when you're on camera, as far as I believe the field should have, our logos and the things on it just to look professional, and so one of the things I propose to the league is being a sponsor of the pro field and bringing in turf and paying for that setup, because I feel like you have the Major League Paintball, and then I feel like you have the NXL, and I believe that NXL, is divisional, it's everything else that's happening out there. But in the pro, if you want it to be a pro, we need to structure that pro division around what is needed for outside, advertisement and people buying in. Because right now, I'm just one guy, so my opinion is just one of everyone else's. But I'll tell you, I love paintball, but I don't like watching it on TV. I'm chasing squirrels, my OCD, I just feel like there needs to be more, our kids and youth of today. They're Call of Duty, things are happening. There's all kinds of stuff. So I think there's some things that I feel like we need to kind of tailor the game just a little bit differently in order to get, to get that outside. Cause we only grow the sport is if we get someone outside of paintball to watch and be part. So anyways, so some of the ideas, are around that, but, I've also, I purchased the company Contract Killer, which was,
no way.
Yeah. So I'm excited that.
When did this happen?
Just the other day closed.
Oh,
this is breaking news. Holy smokes.
Killer. Contract Killer was one of my first personal sponsors. I remember being a kid. It was such a cool company, and it was like, I had a Contract Killer poster. It was sick. No way.
Hybrid and Contract Killer were, running parallel.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was the brand, when I came in, that just impressed me the most. Most of all the pictures, Gerald sent me a picture the other day, and we were all standing around with Paul Alders and Gerald and myself and Sean Saucedo, Shorty at the time. We're all dressed out and decked out and Contract Killer stuff. So I really wanted to, when I came in, that company is something that I feel like can grow inside of paintball and outside of paintball. But it's we obviously always push team sports, team this, but Contract Killer is very individualized. And I really like that aspect of it. And so there's some things where when I talk about, probably people will get mad at me when I say this, so I'm not even want to say it. But I have a hard time paying players. I do, right? So it's not that I have a hard time spending the money. So let me explain that before I get all kinds of hate comments. Because I don't mind spending the money. I really don't. It's that I feel like that paintball is a passion sport. It's what we love to do. It's what I love to do. It's not what I do for a living. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a position to be able to help people that can't necessarily afford to spend all the money to travel and pay for the events and airfare and all that stuff. So I'm happy to help and cover all that stuff and help provide facilities and things for them to be able to excel. But I don't want to pay someone to be out on the field with me. There's a difference. Like, I want to be out there because we're shoulder to shoulder, because you want to be out there and I can help you be there. But I don't want it something that you're paid like it's a job. Like that, to me, that is not paintball. That is just not what it is for me. And I know that I am different in some aspects with owners there. So, but with that said, I feel like there's opportunities. And the reason that I'm investing in these businesses and stuff, because like, for instance, Fedorov is not getting, there's all kinds of rumors of how much money he's making and this or that. Fedorov is not getting paid as a player. Fedorov is getting paid as a contract killer. And he's getting paid through our other brands and our Contract Killer Academy and some of the other things that we're doing. And so, I'm wanting to invest into things to where the players can be involved and make money by helping with those brands and being part of them. Because, that I feel like is fair, right? I mean, they get out and they're part of something and helping with sales and promoting, there's money to be made there to help with them. But yet when they step on that field, they're stepping on that field because there's not 5 other people that in the world that they'd rather do that with. And that's important to me.
Absolutely. I love that
structure.
Yeah. I'm excited to see CK is back in the fold. So that's pretty cool, man. That's some breaking news for everybody out there. And if you didn't know, it's a nostalgic brand from the early 2000s. And when I was playing on Oakland with Bob Long and all the guys, we actually had LJ, John Marquez, who's one of the original founding members of Contract Killer. And so he had us all laced up in that stuff when we were younger, and lots of nostalgic photos with that brand. So it's really cool to see that back. And congratulations, John. That's amazing, man.
Thank you. I'm extremely excited about that brand. That's the amount of money that I intend to push behind that because of how much I believe in it, inside and outside of paintball. I'm excited about what that's gonna bring.
That's outstanding.
Absolutely. I mean, ideally the structure would get to a point. You said a lot there, John, a lot of like really valuable stuff. I want to try to touch on stuff a little bit like one by one, but the webcast itself and watching the game, everyone talks about wanting to change how the game is played, wanting to change this, add that. I have been pretty steady in my position that I don't think that's the case. I think it's more a production thing than anything. You talk about bringing in turf, and just little things that I don't think the average viewer even realizes is what captivates them when they're watching the NFL or they're watching the NBA or any sport. It's all of the graphics that get pulled up with some stats and like some illustrations. You sit down and watch a football game for 4 hours, but the game itself is actually only being played for an hour. You're watching replays. You're watching you're watching production. You're watching entertainment. And so paintball, I believe, is the exact same thing where we're just filming like the raw footage of it. And, if you watch like the all 22 camera angles at, Monday, Tuesday morning after the week, you're not getting the production value and it's not interesting to watch. You only watch it if you're like an insane fan and you're, into like fantasy sports or gambling or whatever. It's the only reason that you would watch like the raw footage. It's not the same. Right. So yeah, I've been of the mindset that we really need to do things to make the production better where the viewer is just engaged. And you mentioned Call of Duty. There's so much going on. You're just like constantly, there's a lot of stimulation that keeps you engaged. I think that's an important thing to tap into. And then secondly, best case scenario is eventually there's enough profit share from Major League Paintball Plus to be able to pay the teams their portion, and then the teams can use that to pay their players. That's the only sustainable business model. Absolutely. Just coming in and like paying players. I'm so thankful that there are owners in the game that are doing that, but it's not like it's a sustainable thing. You're not, like you said, you can win all 5 tournaments here and going to lose money. That's just the reality, unless you have a business attached to it, which now you do with Contract Killers. It's a big reason Tyler and I started to play the game when we were both on Dynasty 5 or so years ago. It's like, look, we need a business in the game. That's how and it's the same thing I teach up and coming players that I coach. I say, look, don't be the player that's just looking for the paycheck. There have been some that have been very successful with that, and good for them for pushing the market over and over. But at the same time, if you want to have something that nobody could ever take from you, use your abilities on the field to build something off the field, and it'll be kind of everlasting. And it's a very, valuable lesson, because unless it's coming from money that's coming in, money shouldn't be going out. It's bad business if it's the other way.
I don't think you could say it any better way. I mean, I think that I hope that I'm going to be able to take some of the things and put them into place that I feel like will help to be able to one day, along with other people and their concepts and ideas. But I absolutely think that we have something. And my gosh, if pickleball could do it and cornhole can do it.
Yeah, we got it.
Brother.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, like we just, it's going to take money. It's going to take investment, and it will take those things. And I think I think there are people that are willing to do it if we can package it right.
Yeah.
Real quick, and like you said, I'm just one person. It's just one opinion. But I will say, I feel like I'm really good at having my finger on the pulse with like what works and what doesn't. And I can't always explain exactly what it is. I'll try to analyze it and, break it down and be like, okay, well, I believe this. Don't always know, but I do have a knack for knowing what is good, what isn't, what works, what doesn't. And cornhole, like when you watch, it looks more professional than NXL almost when you're watching on ESPN, because it has all of the sponsored logos. It's clean. Everyone's in their matching shirts. Like all these things, again, the average viewer doesn't even realize that this is triggering something in their mind. That's like, oh, this is legit. This is professional. Yeah. No, you're watching cornhole. At the end of the day, all sports are kind of silly. You're playing games that are like funny, it's like, oh, well, we're going to do 11 on 11. We'll have all these different positions and you got to get the football past this line over there. Okay. And then like another one's like, we're going to put a circle in the sky and you got to get this ball in the hoop. Like, all sports, they're games and they're kind of funny, but the production built around it is very important. That is the whole thing. So like the image of the pro field is so important. That's why even though it was kind of silly, the Chick-fil-A cow, pictures are actually really cool with it.
I'm going to tell you right now that I walked in and I saw that and I almost wanted to walk up to Tom and them and give them a handshake and a hug. I mean, those things are surprisingly like those things, those are huge. They really are.
Yeah. 100%.
It's all about the ambiance, man. You got to create that ambiance and subconsciously, like you said, March, they don't even realize why they're loving this or why it looks so great. Yeah. It's all the little details there. So I do want to ask you that in regards to business, John, what are some of the biggest principles that you learned from the business side? Some non-negotiables that you as a leader hold for the squad and, things that you've learned from that aspect of life going into owning a pro paintball team and what we can expect on that regard.
Whew, that's a big question.
Yeah,
that's a big one. All right. Well, I feel like in the business world, it crosses over into everything, right? I mean, most of the time if somebody's successful in business, they're successful in other areas because I think it's a mentality that you're not going to fail, right? That you're willing to do everything that everyone else is not willing to, because everybody wants to say, oh, that's sure nice when you're driving a nice vehicle and those sort of things, right? As far as, it wasn't nice when I had to work 7 days a week and 16, 18-hour days and it was nonstop and I had to miss the things and I didn't go to the lake and on the boat and doing the things that they were doing. So I feel like that mentality, and it's what I talked to the team. I was like, guys, you're right there. And if we can do the things that other people aren't willing to do, because, I talk a lot, to some of the pro players and it's just a difference of philosophy, right? So you got teams like Fit. Those guys are grinding every week, 2, 3, 4 times a week, right? And then you have some teams that players are just flying in for layout and then going to the event and playing together. For me, I feel like that you got to do the things like Fit is doing if you want to be great. You've got to go out and you've got to sacrifice those weekends and time that you can't apply to having fun and doing this and then say, hey, I'm gonna be the best in the world. And so I think if you in the business world, if you're willing to grind it out and do whatever, and then you make plans, like you have a plan and a way to switch and change directions. And if this doesn't work, you need to have 5 plans. So if it doesn't work, you've got one place to be able to veer off and go. And that way you're still successful with it. Maybe you may finish in a whole different area, but you're still successful in the end. And I think the guys have all bought into the little details, willing to grind these extra weekends. And I don't know, I just can't help believe that that's going to pay big dividends for us.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We talk about grit equity on the show quite a bit. It's all the work that nobody sees. Only you know how much you gave to the process, and that is the difference maker in a successful organization, a successful team, a business, whatever you want to slice it. That's going to be the difference maker right there. So I already know you guys are bringing the action this year. I love it. I love it.
Can't wait.
man.
I
Let's
think
go.
again, just anytime you could play that much paintball together, it's why Damage, in my opinion, has had so much success, is because they have such a, large core group that plays together every single weekend, no matter what. Like since World Cup, Jacob, Keith, Marky, the guy, they've all been out there every weekend. They don't care that it's, off. They just love being at the field, and they love being at the field together. And that culture really bleeds into the rest of the team. And creating that on-field chemistry is so important. If you don't have on-field chemistry, it's like, it can be really clunky out there. You think a player wants to like do something, and so you set something up, and then it's not what they wanted to do, and you're like, and it took us a little bit. When I think we were kind of just figuring it out on Impact, and then obviously had to go figure it out on Damage. And the first two events, it was like their style was so different than kind of what I was used to. You see it across the board. The more that you play together, the better you're going to do, and it is the secret, which is not really a secret, to fit success. They have no superstars, homegrown team, but they play all the time together. So you build chemistry, you build confidence, you build actual ability, you have great skill. It's just a really great recipe. And so having, I think, players of the caliber of your team on a schedule similar to that is going to be very dangerous for sure. That's So what is it exactly? It's 2 weekends out of the month. That's what I heard, is that you wanted the whole team in Texas to practice.
So at the facility, right? So like the facility has got, we have team housing. So even when teams come in, they've got visiting teams have places to be able to stay. We have a total of 56 beds, 12 bathrooms.
Damn.
Of course, full laundry facilities at each, the Hurricanes private locker room. So the idea is when people come out, that we are inundating, like we're staying. When you walk out the door, you're 20 feet from the field. There's full light, so we're doing 2-a-day type practices morning. Then we've got we've got theater seating with our film study stuff where we do that in the middle of the day.
Oh boy, it's over.
Lots
it's over.
Lots of stuff, man.
It's over.
That's gonna make it good. It just makes it fun.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
The film study is such an important part. That's something I miss so much from, shout out to Vic Gamboa. He would come to all the Dynasty practices, record all of our practices. And, I spent many hours, studying film, going into events, really learning about the layout. You just see things that you're like, wow, I really had such a big opportunity here. And in the moment, I didn't feel like I did. So I have to find ways to recognize those opportunities. It's also great for squashing arguments when you're like, no, dude, I was looking this way. What are you talking about? And you're like, pull up the camera. You're like, I told you switched. This is why I got bunkered. It's a great way to keep people accountable for sure.
Yes, so many people watch film and they're watching the other teams, but I fully believe you can learn just as much, if not more, watching yourself, right? And spending that time, I think the film room and the study is one of the single most areas that the biggest areas that we can improve and spend that time. So, going back to the two, like every other weekend, but our facility is open to the players every weekend, and we have Wednesday night drills. So a lot of our local guys like Kai and some of the guys that are here, they're already committing to come on Wednesdays and Sundays, every week. So we will have the team mandatory practices every other week, but a lot of the guys will be getting together, during the weekend for drill nights and then also on Sundays. So that'll be something. And we got housing provided, so if they want to come in and stay right on site, they can do that too.
Damn. And the field's in Texas, is that correct?
Yeah, just near Greenville. Yeah, just east of Dallas.
It's a private facility. It's not open to the public. Is that right? It's just for the squad.
Yeah, just for the squad.
Amazing. And I'm looking forward to, at some point, we got to make a trip out there and get a scrimmage going with you guys and have some fun and play some paintball. I'm excited to see what you've been working on because it sounds tremendous, man. If every pocket of America had these kinds of facilities, we'd see a huge uptick in the development of, the pro circuit would be even stronger, if you can believe it. I know it's really competitive right now, but with developments like this, you're pushing the boundaries on what we can accomplish. and what teams can develop and do out there. So it's amazing to see. It's really cool.
Right.
We got to get some pictures on the Instagram. You got to send us some pics of this place.
We're about 3, maybe 4. My goal is by our first practice in January that the facilities are 100% finished. So I spent most of my day out. We're drying in a couple of the new housing parts, and so give about 3-4 weeks, and we'll start doing some releases.
All right, tag, play the game. Yeah, tag.
What's the turf like? Is it all green, or is it like the used kind of turf that has the lines all mismatchy? Because we're talking about aesthetic here, so I'm hoping it's the primo turf.
It's all green, but there are some lines. We're actually waiting till when it's all done. We're going to repaint the field in a hurricane blue, and then have the hurricane logo, in the middle. So, but I'm wanting to try to get all the construction part of it done first. So just trying to add some of that little flair.
Will the paint stay?
Say it again.
Silly question. Will the paint stick? I feel like after playing on it.
It's a turf paint that's if you it's designed so if you're doing high school stadiums, college stadiums where they go in and paint, it will stay for for a couple of years. You'll have to may have to do something with it, but for what we're doing 2-3 years, I think we can make it work.
Man, that's awesome.
It's gonna be cool to see. Yeah, like I said, any of the developments, you guys paint that thing, tag us. We'll post it up on the socials as well. And it is really, in this modern day and age, you got to have the YouTube, you got to have all the things so that everybody can see what's going on, and it also helps you on the business side as well for all your business adventures that you're bringing into the game. So I'm sure we'll see a strong social presence as well. Is that something that you've thought about, how you want to approach for obviously Contract Killer and the squad?
Yeah, a couple of my last companies, as far as we were 100% direct to consumer, and so when you talk about, in 3, 4, 5 years, going from when I bought one of the companies, they were doing about $200,000, a year. 5 years later, we were doing, over 300,000, 350,000 a day. 100% direct to consumer sales through online marketing. So I fully 100% believe that everything can be driven through those avenues.
Love it. Yeah, I saw you had a picture with Deion Sanders. What's going on with that? You hanging out with Deion?
Yeah, he's somebody that we brought in with one of our products. As far as the whole again, the branding image. As far as we wanted to, we spent money in areas that felt like gave our product the image we want, and that ended up being a really big deal for us. And so he's a great guy. The University of Colorado, they did the Icy Breeze celebration throne, where on ESPN, every time Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter would do a big play, they would run over to that and and do their poses, and so those are the type of marketing things that I'm hoping to try to add, right? Just that little bit of experience in those areas, because those are so big. I mean, they move the needle in such big ways. Where it's a substantial investment into some of those things, but you drive a company that's doing $1 million to $100 million with some of those type of investments. So hopefully, with some of that experience, that we can tie into that and kind of push that direct to consumer marketing, where we're starting to attract people outside of, we're cannibalizing right now with paintball. It's very cannibalistic, and that's not a sustainable. All that does is just eat somebody alive until they finally leave, and the next guy comes in and they feed off of that. And we got to get away from that and start getting to where we're bringing outside interest in.
Yeah, I think about that all the time, man. It's something that's been actually heavy on my thoughts, is the potential that there is with this game. If, and you can't tell me that it's because of the paintball guns when we got Call of Duty and every crazy thing under the sun that's successful. It's like, that's just an excuse. There's no reason that this game can't be just as big as anything else out there. It has all the right ingredients. It's got the personalities. It's a truly captivating thing. Anybody that watches it goes, holy shit, look at this. Look at what we got here. This is crazy. He just, I don't know what you call that. We just ran on the other side of his bunker and shot him point blank, and everyone's going crazy. It's like, it's a really crazy game. We have aggressive sports. We have mixed martial arts. We have so many different things that are successful, and there's no reason that paintball can't be as well. And I'm so happy to hear that you're on the same adventure that we are, because, you know, we're still to this day, we're trying to get paintball out of the woods. God bless woods ball. But I want the whole world to know that, you know, professional paintball is a real thing and it's here to stay, and that you can have a life in it. And yeah, it's amazing to see you carrying that flag with us, man, because it takes all of us, and we have to see the big picture. You know, I know it's a tight pie, but we could grow the pie and everybody can have their own slice. You know, we just got to focus on getting the pie as big as we possibly can so that everybody can eat, because there's enough for everybody. There really is. Yeah, man.
If there was, sorry, go ahead, John.
Well, I was thinking I probably better go on and correct something, or at least clarify that I said earlier before I get a whole lot of hate out there, right? Because I don't dislike watching paintball. That's not what I meant.
It's kind of what you said. I think you said you hated watching paintball. You think it is the worst thing that you've ever watched. That's what I heard.
Like it's kind of like, for me, you know, like, I love watching it in person, but watching it on TV on the screen, it just like, there's not, like, why in the world is football fun to watch? Well, because there's stars, right? You're able to have so much. If they were just showing the whole, you know, wide shot of the field the whole time, and there was nothing that was in production, if there's nothing of, like, there's a reason why there has to be Tom Brady's and Patrick Mahomes and the superstars, right? Because you need superstars. It's the same thing with the NBA and Major League Baseball and all of the other sports. You have to have storylines in the game. You've got to have the celebrations. You can't just sit there and show the game and say, hey, paintball is just so great, love it and watch. That's just never going to work. And what I mean by that, I love sitting and watching paintball, just like, you know, I'm passionate about it. So I don't mean that I don't like watching paintball, but I think watching it on TV, there's a major difference between watching it in person and watching it online. And you just don't get that involvement feeling like you do in person when you're watching it. And so we got to figure out some way to be able to make the viewer much more involved in the little aspects and storylines of individuals. But, you know, like a Hard Knocks type thing, you know, Bill, like, I didn't like the Detroit Lions at all. And then they're on Hard Knocks, and I'm learning about all the players and their personalities and all the behind the scenes stuff that are going on. And then I find out I'm a Detroit Lions fan. That's, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff that we can do with that. Anyway, so I won't get into all of that. But
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. Storylines, gambling, fantasy, and production. Those are the three most important things to sports, in my opinion, as far as whether or not they're successful. You know, again, I had this thought a long time ago, because I loved watching basketball. Every Laker game I'd watch, like every Warriors game I'd watch, because I had players that I cared about. I would watch as many as I could. Like, it would only be if I was out of the country that I wouldn't watch. I'm either watching on my phone or at home, whatever. I'd watch every game. But if, I don't know, at the time it was the Bobcats and, no offense, maybe the Mavs in like 2015, 16, you know, I didn't care to watch. I'm watching the same game. It's the same sport, but I was literally bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored watching. And then I go, why is that? Oh, it's because I don't care about the players. I'm not invested in the players. Football is the same thing. The only reason I care to sit down on Sunday if I'm home and watch all day is because of fantasy, you know, because I now have players on my team that I would otherwise never watch. I would never watch, you know, Bryce Young on the Panthers, but, you know, I have him in a super flex league. It's been a disaster. But I watch all of his games if I can, you know, and again, those views turn into actual dollars for the league. Yeah. So yes, we need ways to make people care about why they're watching. I personally prefer to watch the webcast and watch in person, but it's only because I feel like I can gather more information from the webcast, because I'll do like pause and go, and a little bit of rewind. But I totally get what you're saying as far as like being live at the event. Like, there's you get the feeling of the, you know, being there. Well, you are there. So, you know, that feeling is kind of irreplaceable. They got to find a way to capture that and bring you into the game a little bit deeper on the webcast, whether it's like more, you know, interviews. Well, first and foremost, we got to get rid of split deck. That would allow a lot more time for these replays and for the production and all of that. Secondly, the aesthetic, it has to be better. You know, we got to figure out, I don't know what the future is, but like the netting itself is just kind of messy looking. I don't know that there's a better alternative. I really don't. I will say, Ty, we were talking about this before the show, the ESPN thing they did, I thought aesthetically it looked really cool. Now, if those stands were full, obviously would have been way cooler, but still, like, it just looks so professional. It's like, wow, you guys are on, this looks like a pro sports arena, we got to make the arena look professional, as however we can do that.
And people in the stands, that back in the day, I mean, like in Huntington Beach and stuff like that, it was, I mean, you felt like it was something, right? And it just, and I know a lot of these things sound like they're like way off in the future, but I don't believe that. I believe these are some things that we can do now and make leap years of what we're able to do quickly.
If you were Tom Cole, and you had one free move on the chessboard, what would it be for next season? If you had one move that you had total control of,
separate the NXL and the Major League Paintball concept in general. I think
round of applause. No, I totally agree. It's so conflicting because obviously what's best for the NXL isn't what's best for the professional side of things, and vice versa. But it's kind of the dichotomy we're in because it's all we've got. So you're like, but yeah, I agree. Being able to separate those two and try to then build the pro events around a show rather than a show around the event is how you make the next step.
Perfectly said. I mean, because at the end of the day, where are all the as far as the webcasts and all that stuff, and you go to nxl.com and it's all, it's the pro pictures. Right. So they're already kind of doing it. It's just, they're not fully doing it. And when that Major League Paintball comes in and you have that, that logo, to me, that is your brand. And NXL, but I do think that you have the events at the events, because one of the things that Tom and those guys have been like, I was away for quite a while when I come back, and the first event I was really spending any time at was Texas, and I walk around and I thought they've done a great job with the branding. If you're not involved or don't know anything about paintball,
for sure,
it looks like an event. I mean, it really does. They do a good job with that. So I don't think you do it at a different, because I don't want to lose that. But totally. I think so. You have the Major League Paintball event there, but it's a completely separate thing. It's entirely focused on separate things in order to, and I won't go into all the little details of what I think should be different, but I'll say that I think there's ways of really being able to have two things going on at one time, but really separating, the event.
Yeah, and the live experience, I mean, if you've never been to a pro tournament, you've got to go and check one out, because the live experience is captivating, and there's a lot of energy. It's pretty hyped. It gets crazy in the stands, especially on the big games. We see it at World Cup, just amazing energy out there. But if you can, captivate that type of energy and get it into, like we were talking about, onto the screens. And, I know we have an amazing team that's working really hard on the production side of things and doing some new creative stuff, but we just got to keep pounding that drum, because that's where we're going to get the connections and the people to care about the individuals on every single team. There's amazing individuals. And the more that we can tell those stories, the more that we can get people to care about those individuals and want to follow them, they're going to tune in and be a part of the process. And it's going to be, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And it's doing something we love to do, right? So
yeah, that's right. We're so lucky, man. All of us sitting here are so lucky to be a part of paintball and a part of this game, truly.
Yeah, that's absolutely facts. John, Contract Killer, what type of company are you guys going to be? Are you going to be rolling out, what kind of products can the fans be expecting?
One of the things that always kind of impressed me with the brand was the design, right? So we have Chris, right? He's staying on as our head designer, because he's incredible. I mean, the guy can just come up with some things that are just amazing. And so we want to really hyper focus on the look of things, that Contract Killer design. So we want to add that to we will have our gun designs that we will bring out. The markers will be, like PS3 Pro, Contract Killer.
Got it.
But we like the idea of, obviously we will have our own packs and pants and that sort of stuff, but we also want to be the Jordan to the Nike, right? Because there's some incredible brands out there like Carbon and Virtue that, that make great products that that we're in discussions with about doing collabs where they have a contract killer line where we take some of their stuff and we put the contract killer design to it. That you turn Chris loose and just make some really cool stuff. So just be kind of that Jordan to Nike concept with the different brands. And so I think that to start will be our biggest thing. And obviously we'll have a clothing line because we will focus on that a lot. They were big on like the shorts and stuff back. You remember the board shorts? I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's that shorts are a little shorter these days than they were back then.
Yeah.
So we have to do a little design work, but got a lot of that stuff coming, I think.
Chris is a legend, absolute legend.
Incredible.
Shout out to him.
It's funny how things come full circle. Short shorts were a thing, and then they got longer and longer and longer, and now short shorts are back. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's new." No, it's not new. It's actually old. It's new old. It's old new. Yeah, I don't know. It's back. Yeah.
It's all cyclical. Nice. It all runs in circles.
I will tell you this. The biggest thing with Contract Killer is the intent to we will have 5 contract killers every year. And those 5 contract killers will be the best players in the world. And we're still going to select those for 2026 in partnership with those and sponsor them individually. So we will take gear that they have and we will contract killer it out and do design. And those 5 contract killers will be the 2026 contract killers with VIP parking spots at the front, at the entrance where it has 2026 contract killer and their name on it. And they have parking right there. I mean, we want our contract killers to be superstars, and we're gonna put a lot behind them to market them, to promote them as the best in the league. And I hope that by 2027, after we've done that, it'll be an event on announcing who those 5 are going to be. Kind of like the Madden cover. Who And because I don't believe that our pro players should be walking in the main gates with everybody else, right? That's just not.
Dude,
not
it's saying this. Look, I love being at events, especially World Cup, and seeing everybody. The support, like I said, is amazing. And I actually think the support goes a long way with like energy in the right direction and how you perform. But there's times where you're just trying to focus and you got to take the long way. When you park, you got to go through the entire area, the entire vendors area just to get to the pro field. You're lucky if you only get stopped 10 times. And again, I'm thankful for those moments. I truly am. But at the same time, when you have an hour until your game, you don't want to be rude. Obviously, this is such a, community-based sport. You don't want to be rude, but you also have a job to do. You got a game to go win. So I'm like, yeah, why can't we have just a little back entrance? Let's just maybe hook us up with a little back entrance.
Going back to
you got to be a contract killer. That's the only way.
Max, well, I'm gonna try a little harder for this next year now that I know that's on the line.
Whenever you look at a business, and paintball should be a business as far as the Major League Paintball aspect of it, right? And the little things. Do you ever walk up to an NFL stadium and watch the players walk in the front gate and go through and get their ticket scanned? Like, no, right? And so it's the perception, right? And if you want to be that, you have to be that at all the small levels. And you're not ever going to be it if you can't even appear to be it. And so I'm going to highly promote the fact that we should have pro parking, and that we'll have VIP contract killer parking. That's even better than that. But I think that the pros should have their own entrances and their places to be able to stage separately, and really build that, like you said, the mystique of that pro division, the Major League Paintball.
Damn, man, he's cooking.
Incredible. Yeah,
he's cooking.
Absolutely cooking.
All right, speaking of superstars, you guys picked up Konstantin Fedorov. Dude's an absolute animal, has been for decades. Besides Fedi, are there any other big pickups or any moves that you guys are looking to do moving into the season? And also CM Harry, this is from him. He's asking this question: will you be bringing back Mike B?
Yeah, so Mike B is coming back, and
nice.
So we've got all of our all the players.
So happy about that.
So we got Drew Bell and Daniel Camp and C Wright and we those guys are such a core group. I don't feel like we need to add anyone. The reason that I felt like Fedorov would be a great addition is because I want, the Hurricanes mentality has always been very methodical, very, like, if you watch them on the field, there's a lot of reaction to to other people doing things. I am a little bit different than that. I want to be the tip of the spear. I want to be the one throwing the first punch. And so I felt like that, and a lot of our guys want to do that, right? But that's just not been the identity of the team. And I was like, how do you change that at the DNA level of the team? And you get a guy like Fedorov, right? The very definition of a contract killer. And so as a business person, I'm seeing him as absolute one of the faces of contract killer, but I also see him as somebody who helps turn us into, that killer mentality that we're coming out swinging, that you might beat us, but you're going to limp away doing it. And it's one of those things to where that tough mentality that we will swing first. We're going to be smart. We're going to be calculated. We're going to be prepared. But if you give us an inch, we're taking it. And that's the mentality that I think he brings to the team, that combined with everything else that we're doing, I just felt like that was the one missing thing that I felt like would put us over the top.
I think it's a great fit just stylistically with roster construction. I really do. It makes you guys a lot more well-rounded, versatile, have the ability to kick into that gear. And a lot of teams don't have that. They're kind of confined to the way that they can play. And so, adding him was massive.
Yeah, and for everybody that doesn't know, Mike B is Mike Bianca, the former coach of San.
Whoa. Apologize. Talking about Michael Brown.
I thought. Okay. So maybe
I was like, when you said that, I was like, that's breaking news. No one knows that.
Maybe he is. Maybe that's what he did mean was Mike Brown, and we were just thinking Mike Bianca.
No.
Okay.
This is from someone else. Is Mike Bianca coming back as a coach?
I thought I heard today that Bianca was going to the Jungle Cats, I believe.
I heard that too. I didn't know that was confirmed. I heard that, and then I actually heard that it didn't happen. And I was like, to me, it made the most sense for him to come back and coach the Hurricanes. But who is going to be your guys' coach?
Yeah, now I got to know. Yeah,
right. So Justin, is Spencer's going to be returning back as our coach.
Okay,
he's one of the guys that I really feel like is chomping at the bit to be that tip of the spear type guy, right? And so I think he fits well with the mentality, the kind of the structure of the team, because we got a lot of guys that have a lot of experience and they like to put the input in. And so we kind of are a round table approach with everything. It's like, hey, what do we think about practice today? And we dig into stuff and people have input. And Justin is very good at being able to listen at those things, not necessarily impose his will, but be willing to soak some of that stuff in. Mm-hmm. And when you got guys like Drew Bell making suggestions on how to do stuff, I mean, you listen to that. And so I think one of the reasons that I believe that he's going to be so good with this group is because he's going to be able to listen, take that stuff in, really apply some of those things, and not be so like, hey, this is my way, this is the way we're going to do it, because that's not really the way the Hurricanes are. And so I really like the idea of having him involved as our coach. And so he's fired up and excited about doing it. The guys love him, and he digs in and he grinds. I mean, like at Cup, we're out here at the facility, and he's out at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night with the lights on, shooting bounce shots after our team meeting when we had some most of that, right? So I think he brings what we need to be successful. So we're excited to have him.
Yeah. Well, you guys have an extremely intelligent roster. It's fun watching the creativity out there. I study all the teams and definitely see how creative the Hurricanes have been season after season, and how efficient and productive the team has been the last couple seasons, and right on the cusp of making those finals appearance wins. I know obviously Las Vegas last season, they made it to the finals and lost to Dynasty in the finals. But, very few teams ever even see those moments. So to have top four finishes, pretty consistently each season now, you're right on the verge of some big things. And I think obviously adding Konstantin Fedorov, like you said, the tip of the spear to go and just do the dirty work, punch. And he can punch on either side. You could have him set him loose on the snake or Dorito side, and he's highly effective. So having that weapon in the arsenal could be the deciding factor that takes the team, over the cusp and into those late round big tournament wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I got a long question. We got just like 2 more questions and we'll let you go. But Fab, he wants to know, well, he says, in general, I think most professional paintball teams do a poor job at leveraging social media to build their brand and to provide more value to their sponsors. It seems like you are heavily invested in taking this to the next level and doing this right. Is putting someone in a role of managing socials for the team at events and practices something you have considered?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most with the brands that I've had and done, I mean, that people don't emphasize that enough, right? They want to have, top coaches, and they want to have this and top players, but the simple fact of the matter is we want to grow the sport. We want to grow our brand. It's going to be through social media. It's going to be online, and you have to put as much focus on that as you're doing on the field if you want to be that. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's going to be a big focus of ours, and that's where. But we're going to do it through our brands that we own, like Contract Killer, right? We will. Where we can see some ROI on that marketing and totally. Be able to. So the answer to that, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, nice. That's the only way to be successful in the modern day and age. You got to have strong socials. All right, we got Verb, and he's got the usual favorite food, favorite place to eat it.
Oh man, come on! I'm like one of those bonsai guys, man. I love the hibachi. You give those like a fried rice and. That's you're going to sit there for like an hour and a half. So you better be prepared. It's going to take a while. So like when the team comes into town, we've gone to hibachi and taken all like 16, 18 of us and taken a couple tables. So that's, if that's my go-to, if I'm going to go somewhere, that'd be it.
Oh man.
I think that's the first hibachi answer we've had on the show, but hibachi is amazing. That's a great call.
It's crazy that's one of the first hibachi answers. You just got to have some fresh clothes when you get back home. You know what I'm saying?
No, where you really need that is Korean barbecue. You like Korean barbecue at all?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Korean barbecue. That's my lady and I, we go probably a little more than we should, at least twice a month, but it is delicious, but you leave and you need a full body shower. You got to wash the clothes. Like it's kind of crazy, like if they could just figure that out, it'd be like a much better spot.
They got to give you like a bubble. You step inside, like a little bubble. Yeah. Walk in there. All right. I think we got one more question from Ken E. It's kind of funny. Why a pro paintball team and not a yacht? He said, on a serious note, what concepts that led to success in business will transfer to the success on the paintball field? Kind of went over that. And what could MLPB do better business wise? Kind of an interesting question.
Yeah. As far as that's something that I think first and foremost, I think they need to realize what they have. And maybe they do, right? But I think they need to highly invest in promoting that and making it the brand. And I think once they do that and kind of realize that professional aspect, you have to drive people that have money to invest in the league and brands and the things to do it. I mean, people are not good business people right now do not invest in paintball. They just don't. Right? It does not make sense to do it. You start making good business people feel like that paintball is a good investment, and that's when we turn the corner.
Powerful. It's great advice, man. Love that. And then we do have some breaking news stuff from the last episode, but maybe we'll save that for our upcoming one. We'll go over all the details of what's happened since the last time we sat down. We did a whole episode on all this breaking news stuff. So we'll dive into that coming up here shortly for everybody.
One last question for you, personal question before we let you go. Besides the Fedorov move, what has been your favorite off-season move so far?
Probably our deal with Defy.
Time out. I'm sorry. Let's just exclude all hurricanes. Yeah. I mean, the other leagues, obviously you got to give your guys the plugs, but we got to exclude any hurricane action.
Right. I think the deal with Defy and Contract Killer and the stuff that we're doing as far as outside of the team stuff is where Defy is coming in, as far as they're producing, we've got some samples of some paint, the tournament level paint that's phenomenal. Right. And we feel like that bringing that Contract Killer, premium, product line to the table. So our deal with them is they're producing 3 lines of paint that will be boxed and sold as their higher end paint, and it's boxed and sold as Contract Killer paint. And they are doing some things with us that I feel like will absolutely kind of launch them into, that brand, that tournament level premium brand that they're wanting to do, and it gives us a great opportunity to be out on local fields and things outside of the tournament. Great. So I think as far as outside of Hurricanes paintball, that's actually one of the things that with the Contract Killer Academy that we're starting with. Steve Fedorov is going to live on site, and he's going to be running the Contract Killer Academy that we'll be having here, on the weekends. And Defy is a big part of that as well. So lots of stuff there to announce in the future.
I'll let it slide. I was trying to pull the fan out of you. I was talking about roster moves, but good business answer. Good business answer. I'm actually also very excited for all the Contract Killer stuff, and that's epic to hear that Federer will be living on site and playing a lot of paintball and doing that. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. There's been so many moves this off season already, and then obviously everybody heard AC Diesel withdrawal. We've got Wildside coming in, and then what was the new addition? We had Collision's in there now. So we got, and that's just 3 of the 13 things I have on my list here, but there's a lot of fun stuff happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll document all that. But John, before we let you go, where can everybody follow you? Where can everybody, we're talking about the social media, how can they support you?
The big thing, we'll be releasing a lot of the stuff with this, with some of these business stuff and some of the Hurricanes things that we're doing. So give us about 2-3 weeks after that first of the year, be looking out for that. And, as those things pop up, follow us and we'll keep you guys involved as much as we can.
Yeah, obviously Instagram is, hopefully you guys already own the Contract Killer Instagram handle. Otherwise, HK Army might own it by the time we get off this call. I'm just joking, but you got to make sure you're dialed in with all that good stuff.
Funny. Yeah, facts. John, thank you so much, man. It actually was amazing to get to know you and have this conversation with you. Appreciate the time. And looking forward to see what you guys do and seeing you at an event soon.
Well, yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. It was fun, and like I said, looking forward to 2026. Can't wait.
Yes, Absolutely. Sir. We can't wait to see you out there. Congratulations and good luck with everything. We'll see everyone soon.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.